Welcome back to some crypto. In today's video, we're gonna talk about BTC, and then we're gonna talk about the short-term view, like the next 4 weeks, right? Next month of February, 2019, right? The next 4 to 5 weeks. So this is the weekly candles, right? This is the weekly chart. So as I mentioned on my previous videos, BTC has a major, resistance right around like a 39.05 to 39.50, and then the next support line we got is right around like 3550 to 3500, right? So if you take a look at the last few weeks, right, the last 3 weeks, you see like we got a big support right around this area, also another support, and then we break below this, area of 3550, but got rejection. So the main thing for BTC to do now, if let's say we want to remain bullish, right, is for this candle to close like this. So we need this candle to by tomorrow, let's say by like the last 4 to 8 hours, we want this candle to at least retest this area and then closes, and then try to close like this, right, as close as possible to the top, right? So let's say right around this area of like 37.76. So that would be like very bullish. I would like, go long if BTC like closes above like 37.76 tomorrow by 7 p.m. Eastern time, right? So we could retest, let's say we could retest this area of 4200, let's say the next 48 to at least 36 hours, right? But let's say BTC closes below this line, right? It's going to be very bearish, but we're most likely going to get this type of wick, right? So because we already made this low, right? So like that, let's say we're not even going to make another low, but we just close like below this area of support. So most likely, the following week, the next week after this week right here, we're going to get some a bigger candle, right? A bigger body candle. So could even like retest this area of 3200. We could retest this area of 3200, right? So if let's say the candle is bearish, by tomorrow 7 p.m. Eastern time, right? So this is the weekly chart. It's very important because as you can go back and take a look at it on the weekly chart, uh, every week, like the last 3 to 5 weeks, right around 11 a.m. Eastern time, right, on Sunday, the market start to become very aggressive because it's very important, like whoever like win that battle, right, between the bears and then the bulls, most likely going to continue that trend, like the rest of the rest of the last 4 hours of the week, right? So you can go back and take a look at that the trend, right? uh so let's take a look at the daily time frame. But before we take a look at the daily time frame, let's take a look at the RSI, right, and then the stochastic RSI. It's very important, right? This is a weekly chart. We're already making a U-turn, right, on the weekly chart. So on the weekly time frame, so we most likely it's going to take at least another 2 to 3 weeks before we get a U-turn, right? Before this make a U-turn, if it does, it at least going to take like another 2 weeks, right? So unless we get like some good news and some lot of volatility, and then it just make a sharp U-turn. But I don't think it's going to make a sharp U-turn. It's at least going to take some time to make a U-turn. But at least like I'm not expecting like a U-turn, a quick U-turn. I'm expecting at least this area to come back, as close as possible to this trend line before making a U-turn. So you're definitely looking at like a very bearish, month of February. So very bearish month of February. So now let's take a look at the daily time frame, and then we're going to start with the stochastic. This is the daily time frame, right? And then you can see how the daily time frame looks like the weekly time frame, right? Both of them are bearish, so that's not good. If you have like your short term time frame, and then your medium-term time frame, the daily and then the weekly, both of them like bearish, at least you could expect like the next like 10 to 15 days to be at least bearish, right? So reason why I think like BTC at least gonna retest this low of 3200, the next couple of weeks. So yeah, we could at least retest this low of 3200 the next couple of weeks, right? So it doesn't mean like we can retest this area of let's say 3800, right? It doesn't mean like we cannot retest this area of 3800. We still can retest this area of 3800 like early next week, and then get big rejection and then come back retest this area. So just because we're gonna retest 3200 doesn't mean like we're not gonna go back to like 39, 3950. So we could get like a big rejection, a big week just like this, you know, just like the sort of week we had like on October 15th when we had the 33rd, right? So we could get like a big rejection before a major sell-off. So to this area, right? So and make a double bottom, but we're just gonna have to wait and see because what I'm expecting from BTC, at least like for the short term, I'm expecting an ABC correction, right? So let's take this off. Right, I'm expecting a ABC correction, right, from BTC. So if I just remove this, right, I'm expecting some. This is your A waves. I'm expecting a B. The B wave could be like could also be like make a, could also make a new low right around like 3K. So and then a lower high. So this is what I'm expecting from BTC at least for the short term, right? The next like you know let's say 4 to 8 weeks, right? So because I'm not expecting BTC to go straight down to a 2K because I think like this bear market gonna last like another like 12 to 18 months. So I'm not expecting like a quick sell off down to like a 2K to a 1500, even if we are ever gonna get to 1500, right? So but at least for the short term, we could expect like some sort of a flat correction, ABC correction before before a further sell off, right? To new lows right around like 2400, right? And makes another ABC correction because the market not gonna go straight down. So it definitely, I'm 100% sure BTC is not gonna make a straight line just like that. Keep going down straight the next like 18 months. So now let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame, right, and see if we can see any bullish or bearish sentiments. We're still moving sideways, and then this area of a sideways movement still look like the 6,000 level, right? If you take a look at the 6,000 level on the daily time frame, right, you can see like this area, the 6,000 level area still look like this, right? That's the same type of movement you're gonna get. So hopefully it's not gonna be this type of sell-off, right? But at least 10 to 8% drop wouldn't be bad to make a good correction. But we're just gonna have to wait and see because this is what I'm expecting, like right there. This type of correction we got in here, this ABC correction, that's what I'm expecting BTC to do, right? Before another sideways movement, just like that, before another big sell-off. So down to 2000, maybe 220, 200 in that range. But we're just gonna wait. We're just gonna have to wait and see because I don't think BTC gonna go to 2K in February. But sometimes the market can surprise you. Uh, the Let's go back to the 4-hour chart, right? Okay, the 4-hour chart. it's nothing basically going on beside this sideways movement, and then we're waiting for BTC to make a you know make a move, right? So either to the upside or to the downside. One thing I also wanted to point out on the weekly time frame, this is the last thing we're going to talk about, is the let's just remove everything. It's very important, like, to talk about this dev cross I talked about on LITECOIN, right? So let's go back to the 50 and then the 100, right? Okay, we're about to get a dev cross in the next couple of let's say 3 to 4 weeks, right? Most likely they're going to be they're going to be intersecting one another, right? The next let's say 4 to 5 weeks, right? I'm expecting 4 to 5 weeks, depending on volatility, right? So these two lines most likely going to cross, and then last time they crossed, look at right here, we got a sharp correction, right around after they cross, we got like a maybe 10% drop, right? Let's see, a 10% drop, right? But look at the anticipation of the cross right around, like, let's say this one was, the sell-off started like mid-March, right? And then the cross started like April, right? So 1 month before the start of the cross, look at this type of sell-off we started. So something similar could be taking place also. We might like retest this area, retest that area right around by the time the cross start, we could be like facing a big sell-off. So it's very possible. It's just something to keep in mind. It might not play out like exactly as it did like back in 2015, but it's something like to keep in mind. Most likely you're gonna get a big sell-off, right? So the time frame is like it's most like the most difficult thing to determine is like the time frame, how long it's gonna take, and then when it's gonna take place. But at least we could be expecting like this dev cross to be very interesting. So, and that's about it for today. If you like the content, let me know what you think down below for the month of February. If you think like BTC gonna retest the 42 to 4400 region, or we just gonna make this correction the whole month of February, and then make a new low down to the 2K to 2400. All right. Thank you for watching. Right.